As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, if you ask yourself the following questions, you'll be able to create good habits. Number 1. Now that you know what to do to stick to your New Year's resolutions, all you have more to do is to figure out what they're going to be. How to stick to your New Year's resolutions and achieve them. What do you want in 2022? Want to make more money? Lose weight? Get in shape? Grow your business? Start doing gig work on the side? Improve your relationships or start new ones? Whatever it is that you want, you should be able to get. But according to Forbes, only 8% of people stick to their New Year's resolutions. That means that 92% of us don't. Why is that, and what can we do to stick to our goals? One main reason why is that you have to have the right mindset, which we covered in another video. In that video, we talked about how the subconscious mind is only concerned about your safety and not your goals and dreams. This is why it will silently sabotage any new behavior or goal that you have. We also talked about how the best way to overcome the negative programming in our subconscious mind is through the repetition of positive affirmations that you should constantly say to yourself all throughout your day. But now, in this video, we're going to talk about how to stick to your New Year's resolutions once you have decided what it is that you want. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how you have to train the body to listen to your mind. You must take control. So once you've gotten yourself into the right mindset, what is the best way to accomplish your New Year's resolutions? Learn how to create good habits and easily stop the bad ones. It's simple but difficult. It's difficult because you are combating your subconscious mind, which runs most of your life if you let it. There is a lot of good information about habits that researchers didn't know until more recently. One of the things that we used to believe was that it takes only 21 to 30 days to develop a good habit. But the research at the University College London in 2009 discovered that it takes an average of 66 days to develop a good habit, not 30. No wonder why so many of us never do develop good habits. We simply didn't stick to it long enough. The other thing that the researchers discovered was that the amount of time it takes to develop a good habit varies greatly from person to person. For example, some in the study took only around 10 days or so to develop a good habit. Others took almost a year. In his book, Atomic Habits, An Easy and Proven Way to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones, author James Clear talks about how most of us are unclear with our New Year's resolutions. We may say something like, "I'm going to exercise more," as a New Year's resolution. The problem with this kind of resolution or goal is that it is way too vague and unclear. Also, there is no date or time commitment to it, and there is no plan of how to include it into our daily lives. What researchers found was that when people simply formulated a plan for when and where they would exercise, they were much more likely to do it. For example, instead of saying, "I'm going to exercise more," say or write down, "During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on a specific day, at a specific time, in a specific place." For example, "During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. at my gym." The power of intention is real. When you get specific and clear as to what your new habit is going to be, you are much more likely to do it. Your subconscious mind, if you don't have sabotage going on, will help you to keep your word to yourself. They call this method the implementation intention, which is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. You can use this method to go to sleep early, for studying, to learn to play a new instrument, or anything else that you want that you can schedule. According to James Clear, quote, "Broadly speaking, the format for creating an implementation intention is, when situation X arises, I will perform response Y," unquote. An example would be, when it's Monday at 9 a.m., I will exercise vigorously for 20 minutes. It's filling out the sentence, I will certain behavior at a certain time in a certain location. For example, I will exercise at 5 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at my gym. The idea is that once you write down specifically what you're going to do and at what time and location, then you are much more likely to stick to the habit. Additional examples are things like, I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. or I will make my partner a pot of tea at 8 a.m. One version of implementation intention that works very well is called habit stacking. Habit stacking is simply connecting a new habit to one that you already have. We already do this naturally. For example, after you use the restroom, you wash your hands. That's habit stacking. But now you can add more good habits to ones that you already have and build upon them. The habit stacking formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. Here are some examples. After I get home from work, I will put out my workout clothes. After I do the dinner dishes, I'm going to write for 20 minutes. After I make my tea in the morning, I will meditate for 5 minutes. And then what you can do is to put them in order. For example, after I make my tea in the morning, I will meditate for 5 minutes. After I meditate, I will read a self-help book for 10 minutes. After I read a book, I will exercise for 20 minutes. You can keep stacking one new good habit onto another, and you'll easily create many new habits that will serve you well. One other point that was made by author Stephen Guise in his book Many Habits is that what is most important about creating a good habit is performing it no matter what. But you may be thinking, how can I do that if I'm sick? Or what do I do if I don't have the time? That's where many habits come in. The mini habit idea is to make your goal to do each new good habit at a ridiculously low standard. For example, if your goal is to do push-ups every day, then lower your standard to just 1 push-up. If your goal is to meditate, then set your goal to be just 1 minute of meditation. If your new habit is to write in your journal or book every day, then set your goal to just 1 sentence or 1 paragraph. Make it ridiculously easy to complete your good habit. What will happen is that on those days when you feel good and have the time, you'll do way more than just 1 push-up or 1 minute of meditation or 1 sentence in your journal or book. But on the days when you really don't feel like doing your good habits, you can just do 1 push-up, 1 minute of meditation, and write just 1 sentence. The point is that it is much more important to keep the momentum of doing your good habit than it is to push yourself too hard or too much. In other words, it is better to be consistent with your good habit than it is to perform it well. We all need a break sometimes anyway. And when you have all these habits stacked on top of each other and you're really feeling yucky that day, you'll still keep your word to yourself and easily get through all your new habits. The Atomic Habits book makes the point in chapter 1 that, quote, if you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. When you have the right system in place to create good habits, you'll be able to keep your New Year's resolutions easily and effortlessly, and you'll be part of the 8% of people who keep their resolutions. One main point from the book is that there are 4 laws of behavioral change that will help you to create good habits and help you to stop the bad ones. Whether a habit is a good one or a bad one, there are 4 stages that we go through with either. The 4 stages are the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. The idea is to make good habits effortless and make bad habits difficult. Let's take each behavioral change law and analyze it for a good habit and a bad one. The first behavioral change law is to make the new habit obvious and the bad habit invisible. This is called the cue. For example, if you wanted to make the habit of playing your guitar several times a day, you would make it obvious by leaving your guitar out in the open, such as in your living room. But if you wanted to stop the bad habit of eating snacks, you would hide them in a difficult part of the house to make it invisible. The second behavioral change law is to make the new habit attractive. and the bad habit unattractive. It's fine. And then you would ask the polar opposite questions to stop bad habits. Number 1, how can I make the habit invisible? Number 2, how can I make it unattractive? Number 3, how can I make it difficult? Number 4, how can I make it unsatisfying? Notice that these 4 steps follow the format of the 4 stages of a good habit or a bad habit. For example, you would put the guitar or the cue in an obvious place for you to play it. Then you could build up the craving to play it by making it look appealing or attractive. Maybe you put stickers on your guitar or do something to get you to crave playing. The 3rd step is the response, which is to make it easy to grab the guitar and start playing right away. Maybe this means that if it's an electric guitar, you leave it plugged in most of the time so it's really easy to instantly start playing. And then the 4th step is to give yourself a reward for playing. Maybe you order in every time you play the guitar, or you could reward yourself by calling a friend and having a conversation for 10 minutes. The point is to reward yourself so that you make the new habit very appealing. You can do the exact opposite with a bad habit. Let's say that you want to stop smoking. The first law or rule is to make it invisible. So you would hide the cigarettes from yourself so you don't even see them. The 2nd step is to make it unattractive. Maybe what you could do is to write on your cigarette package a message like, "These are slowly killing you." The 3rd step is to make it difficult. So you could put your cigarettes in the attic to make it difficult to access them. The 4th step would be to make it unsatisfying. You could make a deal with yourself that you will only smoke in your bathroom when what you really like to do is to smoke outside. The bottom line is that if you want to keep your New Year's resolutions, you must create a system that allows you to easily create new good habits and stop the bad ones. It really isn't your fault for not being able to keep your past resolutions. It's simply about not knowing how to implement a system of keeping good habits and removing the bad. Now that you know what to do to stick to your New Year's resolutions, all you have more to do is to figure out what they're going to be. Choose easy ones that you can build upon over time, and before you know it, you'll reach a turning point where all of the small changes that you made over a long period will accumulate to suddenly be a huge difference in your life. That's how to stick to and achieve your New Year's resolutions. Happy New Year, and may 2022 be your best year ever.